Under the scorching sun of Uchim, the Obi's mansion stood as a testament to wealth and status, with its towering gates, manicured lawns, and a fleet of luxury cars parked in the driveway. It was in this opulent setting that Chimezie, the only child of Obinna and Ifunanya Obi, grew up, swaddled in luxury and spared no desire. Obinna, a successful businessman, and Ifunanya, an estimate fashion designer, had waited 15 long years for a child. When Chimezie finally arrived, they vowed never to deny him anything, compensating for the years they had longed to hear the laughter of a child in their home. From a young age, Chimezie was showered with the finest gifts, toys from abroad, designer clothes, and lavish birthday parties that made headlines. As he grew older, his demands grew more extravagant. By the age of 18, he drove the latest cars, sported the trendiest gadgets, and flaunted his status like a crown. His peers at the prestigious Royals College, where his parents were key sponsors, feared him not for his charm, but for the power his parents wielded. Teachers dare not scold him, and students kept their distance, wary of his temper. One Monday morning, Chimezie strutted into the school courtyard, his chin held high as usual. As he walked, students parted like the Red Sea, whispering and casting wary glances his way. But today was different. A new face caught his eye. Standing by the school gates was a girl, her hair neatly braided, wearing the simple but neat uniform that marks her as a scholarship student. She held her books tightly against her chest, her eyes scanning the unfamiliar surroundings. "Who's the new girl?" Chimezie asked his friend, Amobi, as they leaned against his sleek black Mercedes. "That's Adaku," Amobi replied, barely lifting his gaze from his phone. "She's on some scholarship. Heard she's from Ogwashi Uko. Doesn't really fit in here, does she?" Chimezie smirked. "Let's see how long she lasts." During the first class, Chimezie deliberately knocked over Adaku's books as he walked past her desk. The room fell silent, all eyes darting between the two. Adaku bent down quietly to pick up her books, refusing to meet his gaze. Chimezie's smirk widened as he saw the teacher pretend not to notice. As he returned to his seat, he tossed over his shoulder, "Watch where you're going next time, scholarship girl." Days turned into weeks, and Chimezie made Adaku his target. He tripped her in the hallways, mocked her modest clothes, and once even hid her backpack, leaving her scrambling to find her books before class. Despite this, Adaku never retaliated. She carried herself with a quiet dignity, her grades impeccable and her kindness unyielding. She helped struggling classmates with their studies and was respectful to all, from the janitors to the principal. One afternoon, Chimezie found Adaku in the library, her nose buried in a book. He sauntered over and yanked the book from her hands. "Why don't you get a real life instead of burying your nose in these dusty old books?" He sneered. Adaku looked up at him, her expression calm but firm. "You may have all the riches in the world, Chimezie, but if you think money makes you better than everyone else, then you're the poorest person I've ever met." For the first time, Chimezie found himself speechless. He stood there, staring at Adaku as if seeing her for the first time. Her words echoed in his mind long after he left the library. After that day in the library, Chimezie couldn't get Adaku's words out of his head. He began to notice her more, how she carried herself with confidence, never letting anyone's opinions, not even his, diminish her spirit. She would often sit under the big mango tree during breaks, reading or chatting with a few close friends. Her laugh was light, genuine, and infectious, and it piqued Chimezie's curiosity. One day, as he walked past the tree, he overheard Adaku helping a classmate with a math problem. Her patience and clarity in explaining the equation stood in stark contrast to Chimezie's dismissive attitude towards his studies. "Wow, you really have a way with numbers," Chimezie remarked sarcastically, leaning against the tree trunk. Adaku looked up, unfazed. "It's just math. You only need to understand it." Chimezie scoffed. "I don't see why anyone needs to bother with this. I can always hire someone to do it for me." Adaku shook her head, a slight smile playing on her lips. And that's the difference between you and me. I believe in doing things myself. You believe money solves everything. Chimezie felt a sting at her words. For the first time, he saw a glimpse of what independence truly meant, something beyond financial freedom, something Adaku embodied effortlessly. Gradually, Chimezie started changing his approach. Instead of mocking Adaku, he began watching her from a distance, observing how she interacted with others. He noticed how she volunteered at the school's tutoring program, offering her help to anyone who asked, regardless of their background. He started sitting closer to her in class, paying more attention to the subjects she excelled in, and was surprised when he found himself genuinely interested in learning for the first time in his life. One rainy afternoon, Chimezie found Adaku struggling to carry a stack of books to the library. Without thinking, he rushed over and took half of the pile from her arms. Adaku looked at him, her eyebrows raised in surprise. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Helping," Chimezie replied simply. Adaku smiled, a soft laugh escaping her lips. "Well, that's new." They walked in silence, the sound of raindrops on the roof filling the gaps between them. As they placed the books on the library counter, Chimezie turned to her. "Adaku, I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. For everything." Adaku looked at him, her gaze searching his face for sincerity. "People can change, Chimezie. I believe that. I just hope you're not doing this because you think it will get you something in return." Chimezie shook his head. "No, it's not that. I just want to be better. You've shown me that." As weeks turned into months, Chimezie and Adaku's interactions grew more frequent. They often found themselves in deep conversations about their hopes, fears, and the futures they envisioned. Adaku spoke of her dreams to become a lawyer, to fight for the rights of those who couldn't afford justice. Chimezie, on the other hand, admitted he was still searching for his purpose, having spent most of his life under the shadow of his parents' expectations. One evening, after a particularly long study session in the library, Chimezie walked Adaku home. They stopped at a small, quiet park, sitting on a bench as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shade of orange and purple. "You know," Adaku began, staring at the sunset, "I never thought I'd actually like you." Chimezie chuckled, slightly embarrassed. "I don't blame you. I wasn't exactly the nicest person." Adaku turned to face him, her eyes soft. "But you're different now. I see it, and I think everyone else does too. You just need to keep believing in that change." Chimezie felt a warmth spread through him, a mixture of hope and gratitude. He took a deep breath, gathering the courage to say what had been on his mind for a while. "Adaku, I like you. I mean, I really like you. You're not like anyone I've ever met, and I know I still have a lot to learn, but you make me want to be better." Adaku looked at him, her expression unreadable. After a moment, she smiled, though there was a hint of sadness in her eyes. "Chimezie, I like you too. But you have to understand, we're from different worlds. And as much as I want to believe that love can conquer all, reality doesn't always work that way." Chimezie nodded, the weight of her words settling on him. He knew the obstacles they faced were not just between them but also from the world around them, his parents, her modest background, and the expectations society placed on them. When Chimezie finally mustered the courage to tell his parents about Adaku, their reaction was as expected. Obinna, seated in his leather armchair with a glass of whiskey in hand, didn't hide his displeasure. "You've lost your mind, Chimezie," Obinna said sternly. "You can't throw away your future for some girl who can't even bring anything valuable to this family." Chimezie stood his ground, his voice unwavering. "Adaku is worth more than any business deal or social status. She's made me realize what it means to be a decent human being." Ifunanya aside, Chimezie, we understand you think you care for her, but relationships aren't just about feelings. They are about building alliances, strengthening family ties. That girl, Adaku, she doesn't fit into the future we've envisioned for you. Chimezie clenched his fists, frustration boiling inside him. Is that all this is about? Business and alliances. What about my happiness? What about the kind of person I want to be? Obinna leaned forward, his expression stern. This isn't about your happiness, Chimezie. This is about legacy. You're young, you don't understand these things yet. I've already spoken to Chief Okoye. His daughter, Chidinma, would make a suitable match for you. Marrying her will open doors you can't even imagine. Chimezie shook his head. I don't care about Chief Okoye's daughter. I care about Adaku. She's the reason I've changed, the reason I've become someone you can be proud of, not because of wealth or status but because of my character. Obinna slammed his glass down, the sound echoing through the room. Enough. This conversation is over. You'll meet Chidinma, and you'll do what's expected of you. Feeling defeated, Chimezie retreated to his room. He sat by the window, staring at the city lights that once seemed so alluring but now felt empty. Adaku's words echoed in his mind, and he knew he couldn't let go of the one person who had shown him the value of true integrity. The next morning, Chimezie called Adaku. We need to talk, he said. They met at their usual spot under the mango tree at school. Adaku could see the turmoil in Chimezie's eyes. They want me to marry someone else, Chimezie confessed, his voice strained. They think it will be good for the business, that it will secure some stupid alliance. Adaku nodded, her expression somber but not surprised. I figured this would happen. Your parents are set in their ways, Chimezie. I don't want to be the reason you're at odds with them. Chimezie took her hands in his, squeezing tightly. But you're not just some obstacle, Adaku. You're the reason I've become better. I don't want to lose that, I don't want to lose you. Adaku pulled her hands back gently, a sad smile on her lips. I care about you, Chimezie, but you have to make this decision for yourself. I don't want you to choose me out of rebellion. I want you to choose the life that makes you genuinely happy, even if that means letting go. Chimezie watched as she walked away, feeling the weight of the choice he had to make. He knew the path of least resistance was to follow his parents' wishes, but every fiber of his being told him that wasn't the life he wanted. A week later, Obinna hosted a dinner for Chief Okoye and his daughter, Chidinma. Chimezie sat at the table, restless and uncomfortable. As they ate, the maid accidentally spilled water on Chidinma's dress. Instantly, Chidinma erupted in anger, her voice shrill as she berated the maid. Are you blind? Do you know how much this dress costs? You're just a stupid servant. The room fell silent, and all eyes turned to Chimezie. He watched as the maid, an elderly woman, trembled under Chidinma's harsh words. His father's earlier comments about marrying for status echoed in his mind. He glanced at Obinna, whose expression was unreadable, but Chimezie saw a flicker of discomfort in his eyes. After dinner, Chimezie confronted his father. You saw that, didn't you? You really want me to marry someone who disrespects others like that? Obinna sighed, rubbing his temples. I understand your point, Chimezie. But you have to see things from my perspective. It's not just about love, it's about securing our future. Chimezie shook his head. But what's the point of securing a future built on arrogance and disrespect? Adaku may not come from a wealthy family, but she's worth more than all the money in the world. Obinna stared at his son. Determined to prove Adaku's worth, Chimezie decided to take matters into his own hands. When his father mentioned the upcoming charity event in a local community, Chimezie saw an opportunity. Dad, let me handle this event, Chimezie suggested one evening at dinner. I know someone who can organize it perfectly. Obinna looked skeptical but nodded. Fine, but this better be worth it. Chimezie wasted no time in reaching out to Adaku, explaining his plan. Despite her initial hesitation, she agreed to help. On the day of the event, Adako arrived early, coordinating volunteers, setting up stations, and ensuring everything ran smoothly. Her natural leadership shone through as she navigated the complexities of the event with grace and efficiency. As the day progressed, Obinna observed from a distance, impressed by the seamless flow of activities. He noticed how Adako interacted with everyone, treating the wealthy donors and the local children with the same respect and warmth. When the event ended, several community leaders praised the organization, and Obinna couldn't ignore the positive feedback. Later that evening, as the family gathered at home, Obinna turned to Chimezie. "I must admit, your friend did a remarkable job today. She's different." Chimezie seized the moment. "Dad, she's not just different, she's extraordinary. You saw today what she's capable of. This isn't just about where she comes from. It's about who she is. And I'm telling you, she's the kind of person who makes me want to be better." Obinna sighed, the weight of his son's words sinking in. He looked at Ifunanya, who nodded subtly, her initial reservations now softened by the undeniable proof of Adako's character. "I've been too focused on what I think is best for you," Obinna said finally, his voice tinged with regret. "I see now that maybe I've been looking at this all wrong." Chimezie smiled, hope flickering in his chest. "So, does that mean?" Obinna nodded. "Yes. You have my blessing. But remember, Chimezie, relationships are more than just love. They are work. They are compromise. I hope you're ready for that." Chimezie grinned. "I am, Dad. I really am." A week after the event, Obinna and Chief Okoye met at their favorite golf club, a place where they had sealed many business deals over the years. Today, however, the atmosphere was heavy. Obinna shifted uncomfortably as he watched Okoye line up his shot, his friend's usual jovial expression replaced by a focused silence. "Nice swing," Obinna commented, trying to ease into the conversation, but his voice betrayed his unease. Okoye nodded, retrieving his ball. "Thanks. So, what's on your mind, Obinna? You've been quiet today." Obinna took a deep breath, realizing there was no easy way to say what needed to be said. "Okoye, I came here today because I need to talk to you about something important, about Chimezie and Chidinma." Okoye paused, his face tightening slightly. "What about them? Are we setting a date for the introduction?" Obinna hesitated, searching for the right words. "I'm afraid that's why I'm here, Okoye. I've thought long and hard about this. Chimezie isn't ready for this union. He's found someone else, and I believe it's the right choice for him." Okoye's face fell, the news hitting him like a blow. "Someone else? Obinna, we've talked about this. Our families, our businesses, this union was meant to strengthen everything we've built." Obinna nodded, guilt washing over him. "I know, my friend. And I value everything we've planned. But Chimezie has changed because of this girl, Adako. She's been a positive influence on him in ways I never imagined. I've seen the man he's becoming, and I can't in good conscience force him into a marriage that he doesn't want." Okoye clenched his jaw, setting his golf club down. "I never thought I'd hear this from you, Obinna. I thought we had an understanding." Obinna placed a hand on Okoye's shoulder, his voice sincere. "I'm truly sorry, Okoye. This isn't easy for me, and I don't want our friendship or business to suffer because of this. I understand if you're upset. But as a father, I have to do what's best for my son, just like you would for Chidinma." Okoye sighed, the disappointment clear in his eyes. "I can't say I'm not hurt, Obinna. But I understand. Our children have their own paths, and sometimes those paths don't align with our plans." Obinna nodded gratefully. "Thank you for understanding, my friend. I promise this won't affect our partnership. We'll find other ways to strengthen our bond." Okoye managed a small smile, though it was tinged with sadness. "I hope so, Obinna. For now, let's just focus on being the best fathers we can be. That's all we can do." The two men shook hands, a silent acknowledgement of the complexities of their situation, and resumed their game, the weight of the moment slowly lifting as they moved forward. With Chimezie's parents' approval, Chimezie's relationship with Adaku flourished. They spent their remaining time at Royals College side by side, their bond growing stronger with each passing day. Chimezie's transformation was undeniable, and the school that once feared him now saw him as a leader and a friend, thanks in large part to Adaku's influence. When Chimezie and Adaku graduated from Royals College, they both pursued their dreams. Chimezie went on to study business administration, inspired to one day run his own company with integrity and fairness. Adaku was accepted into law school, where she continued to advocate for the rights of the underprivileged, driven by her passion for justice. Their wedding, held a year after graduation, was a celebration of love, perseverance, and the power of change. It was a modest affair, blending the grandeur of the Obi family's status with the simplicity of Adaku's roots. Friends and family gathered to witness the union of two people who had not only found each other but had also found themselves. Obinna, watching his son exchange vows with Adaku, felt a sense of pride and contentment he hadn't felt in years. Ifunanya stood beside him, dabbing at her eyes with a handkerchief, overwhelmed by the beauty of the moment. As Chimezie and Adaku took to the dance floor, swaying to the rhythm of the cool music, they knew their journey was just beginning. They had faced their challenges, defied expectations, and proven that true wealth lies not in material possessions but in the connections we build with others. Their love story became a beacon in their community, a reminder that change is always possible, and that the heart knows no boundaries. Chimezie and Adaku had not only changed each other's lives but had also touched the lives of those around them, inspiring a new generation to look beyond the surface and value what truly matters. And as they danced under the twinkling lights, surrounded by loved ones, Chimezie whispered in Adaku's ear, "Thank you for showing me what it means to be truly rich." Adaku smiled, her heart full. "And thank you for choosing to see me, Chimezie, for who I am." They continued to dance, lost in their own world, knowing that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, united by a love that had defied all odds. Thank you for staying with me to the end. I hope you enjoyed this tale. What lessons did you learn from this story? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, click the notification bell to stay up to speed on my latest stories. See you in my next tale. Bye for now.